All right, welcome back to the Business Exchange, where the show we dive into the ideas, peoples, and innovations shaping industry and redefining the future. I'm your host, Joseph. Today I'm joined with Madden, Vice President, Madden's Sheet Metal, a union fabricated shop just outside Chicago, known for precision built roof curbs, curb adapters, stainless and black iron ductwork, and highly custom metal solutions. From HVAC contractors to engineers and facility managers, their reputation is built on craftsmanship, speed, and solving real world job site problems. Devin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Good, good. Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. Madden Sheet Metal was founded in 2019. What inspired the launch?
So we started in 2019. My husband is a third generation sheet metal worker. So he has been in this trade his entire life in one way or another. His uncle is a sheet metal worker. His brother is a pipe fitter. He and his whole family were in the skills trades. So he had gone in, he was getting his apprenticeship and becoming a journey sheet metal worker when I was getting my PhD in English literature. Two very different worlds that we were in,
Yeah.
but not really. He was kind of getting his PhD in, sheet metal while I was getting it in, the humanities. I had come, my father was a small business owner. I'd always been very entrepreneurial and was very much encouraging him. But he was already the foreman and had been sort of managing one of the largest shops in the area and had all these ideas about how he would do things differently. He and his closest friend, who was a really skilled welder, were working together and had all of these ideas. So they just started their own pirate ship, and it started very small. It was originally just John and Dan, who's our master welder. And then very quickly we expanded because of the strangeness of opening right during COVID. One of the first big jobs that we got when we opened was actually a COVID testing facility. So we had to ramp up really quickly, and then there was nothing. Then there was no work for, almost a year. And so we had all of those like bumps and pains of, early business ownership. But over the past few years, we've really found our sweet spot and figured out what really makes our company unique. And we've grown a lot in the years since then. We've taken on 2 more journeyman sheet metal workers. We now have a full office and a driver, and we're hoping to expand more this year and hire more union sheet metal workers in our area.
Oh, that's
Really
excellent.
expert welders. So
Yeah, good
our
stuff.
stories has had lots of dips and valleys, but it's been really exciting and fun to get the skilled craftsmanship out into the world.
Yes, beautiful. So, what gaps did you see in Chicago fabrication market?
We do lots of different work. We do a lot of specialty customized welding, but we also are very, very good at TIG welded stainless. That's a very specialty form of welding that not a lot of other shops offer. But one thing that makes our shop very unique is that we're a union shop that's focusing mostly on rooftop equipment. Anytime that a giant new unit is going into a building that's putting in hot or cold air, it has to tie into the existing ductwork. We make the pieces that make that possible, where you can take the new units and connect it into the existing ductwork. And there are not very many other union shops that do that in our area. So it's exciting to be able to dip into that market.
Oh, that's excellent. Good for that. So, being family owned, what values were non negotiable from day one?
Well, first one is a rising tide raises all ships. Like we're all in this together. I've worked for very, very large companies and I've worked for teeny tiny small companies. It's the little mom and pop shops that actually employ people in this country. Not those big tech firms. It's not those big powerhouse, Fortune 500 players. Most people, especially most people who are paid dignified living wages, are actually employed by mom and pop shops like ours. So that's very important to us. Us being a union shop and making sure that everybody in our shop, because they're in a union, have an annuity, they have a pension, they have really good health care, they have very, very strong, wages. It's expensive to employ union people, but it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
so worth it. I mean, there's the expertise and the skill that comes with that. But in addition, we have this really good community, and we're also making sure that we feel good about, the entire workforce that we're creating. So that's really, really essential to sort of the identity of Madden Sheet Metal.
Yes, excellent. So you're known for curb adapters and welded HVAC fabrication. Why these specialties?
Well, there's a need for it. Anytime a new unit is going onto a building that already existing has ductwork, it needs a curb adapter, and anything needs a curb. You can't just put a giant unit on the roof. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So there's a market for it. But the welded stainless and the black iron, that really is because we have the best welder in the state of Illinois. I am confident of it. So we have just incredible craftsmen, and that's what they're really good at. And they can do it faster and make them really, really efficient and very safe welds that can hold up to any kind of test. And so it really came out of that being the skill set of our employees.
Perfect. So how custom do requests really get? What's the wildest build you've ever done?
My favorite story on these, they get crazy custom. So most of what we do is ductwork, which is, it's ductwork.
Yeah.
It's nothing all that exciting. Sometimes they get kind of exciting. We make some weird ductwork, but, it's usually ductwork. But every once in a while, we get to do some like really cool wackadoo projects. And my favorite that we got to do, have you seen The Bear on Hulu? It's about the chef in Chicago, because we're right outside of Chicago. So this is very near and dear to our hearts to do the beef stand. We got to make the bear cage that is in the very first scene. There's this big CGI bear that's in this huge cage that's on one of the bridges in Chicago. We made that cage. We also make weird little set pieces that are made out of welded metal for studios in Chicago. So we
Nice.
have made things for Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, all of those like TV shows. We've done set pieces for those. We've also done lots of other really cool projects. We do a lot of stuff for facility work. So if you own a facility, sometimes you need all these custom racks or shelving or particular kinds of pushing carts that need to be able to hold really very, very heavy amounts of weight. We've also made ink wells for printing shops. So it can get crazy custom. And we can even get very artistic about it. We sometimes do customized art. But our bread and butter is in the less, the less sexy side of the industry, which is mostly making roof curbs and adapters and ductwork. But we can make really beautiful stuff. What's amazing about it is that we have this laser table that can cut metal with light. And it's, it's like a printer. You really can't create anything on it. So we have a lot of flexibility.
Oh, great. How important is speed and turnaround in winning business?
Oh, enormously in our industry. The fabrication of ductwork, it is crazy how fast some of our competitors can get stuff done, and we can do it just as fast as they can. So faster turnaround times do mean higher prices, right? Usually on any kind of construction project, the more planning you can do in advance, and the more you can be really structured about your timelines, and the more leeway and time leeway you can give your fabrication shops, the more cost effective it's going to be. But that being said, if our customers have an emergency, which happens a lot, we can turn it around really fast. So we actually have a story where one of our customers was doing a crane lift, right, which is extremely expensive. We don't want to mess those up. We've got all the guys there. Everybody's ready to install this new unit. The curb adapter shows up from one of our competitors, and it was wrong. It was the wrong curb adapter. And so they called us. We made the curb adapter within an hour and a half, and we had it on our job site. Now, we were lucky. The job site was like within driving distance of our shop, and we were able to kind of sneak it in that day because it was an existing customer. But that's why you sometimes partner with little mom and pop shops like us, that we can do stuff like that, these bigger fabrication shops just aren't able to.
Yeah. Where does profitability in fabrication really come from? Efficiency, pricing, relationships?
All of the above. I think that efficiency is huge for us. Really, the way that we quote jobs is that we quote material and hours. So how much does the material cost? And then we, of course, have a markup on our material, but it's nothing crazy. And then how many hours are we charging you for, right? How much does it cost us to employ these people? And then we have how much per hour. That's where we make our money, is if we can beat our hours. right? And so we know how many hours on our production schedule we have out that week. If we can beat those hours, that's where we're cooking. And that means that we have to do a lot of things. We have to hire really good people who can get the work done quickly, first and foremost, of course, and they know what they're doing. But
Yeah.
it's investing in technologies and machinery. We invested this past year. We used to have a plasma cutter for our main cutting our metal on our table. Now we have a laser cutter, a Vez cutter table. That's saved enormous amounts of time. And it's also making sure everyone's trained on everything appropriately, and that we don't have any bottlenecks between the office and the shop, which can, sometimes happen
Yeah.
if there's confusion about designs. So getting that whole system working as efficiently as possible, that's really what it's all about.
Right. Right. So what's harder right now? Finding skilled labor, since you mentioned labor, and managing demand.
I am telling you right now that this idea that there's not enough skilled labor in this country is a fallacy. That is
Hmm.
a lie. That is not true. There is not enough cheap skilled labor in this country. If you want somebody who's good, hire a union laborer. We have hundreds of young people waiting to get in off of the list,
Hmm.
but we can't hire them at the levels that we want to because too much work goes to people who are making literally half or maybe a third of what union laborers are making. And we should support real ethical salaries of
Yeah.
of skilled tradesmen. And that means that they have to be paid to do their training as well and go through that whole process and have on the job training so they can upskill as these new technologies come along. But there is so much talent out there and there's so much desire to be part of the skilled trades in these young people. I think that shift has already happened. I think that the word is out, about like how good these opportunities are. But I think people have to be willing to pay for American made,
Yeah.
union made, real products that are made by people making a living wage.
Right. So as you grow, how do you maintain quality while increasing volume?
The That's a challenging thing to do because our relationships with our customers are so important. You don't want to be that. No, you want to be the shop nobody thinks about, right? Like you don't want to have like to worry about the curb adapters. You just want
Yeah.
to place your order and for them to show up on time and be right. That's what you need, and any of these things that are being ordered. So that's what we really strive for, is making sure that everything's correct before it leaves the door.
Yeah.
So we're still a really small shop. So my husband John, who's a union sheet metal worker, and our three journeyman guys, do have very high quality standards, and he's still able to lay eyes on everything. Eventually, we'll outgrow that, and we'll have to have other people that we can trust to maintain our quality standards.
Hmm.
But the really important thing is that what the customer ordered is what they get when they wanted it shipped. Because
Yeah.
it's really, really important when you're part of that construction industry. You're just one little Lego piece of this
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah.
enormous project
Yeah.
that's going on. But we know how hard it can be if we get our material in late, what a huge
Yeah.
bottleneck that can cause. We can't do that to our customers, and we don't get to keep those customers.
Right. Right. So where do jobs most commonly break down? Drawings, communication, or site changes?
I mean, all of the above. I mean, nobody wants to do change orders, right? You want to be able to order the thing from a fabrication shop and it to be right the first time, but that's not always the reality of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that everybody knows this, that with construction, planning, 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 like the organization on the front end saves so much money on the back end. So it's where you can get into those steps. Very often
Yeah.
we'll quote jobs that won't go for months, and then later we'll be like, oh yeah, that one, and it circles back around. But those are the jobs that tend to go really well, both for us and for our customer, because everybody has the same expectation going in, and anything that's going to change in any kind of way is really clearly recorded so that everybody stays on the same page. But it's the same mess ups that happen in any industry,
Yeah.
where the change order gets hidden in the third email that's in the text
Yeah.
chain, it's the wrong PDF that got approved, or, and that kind of stuff happens all of the time. So really those foundational aspects that I think let any operation function, is true in the construction industry as well.
Right. Right. So what keeps you up at night operationally?
Well, cash flow is hard for a
Yeah.
fabrication shop, because we have to put up all of the money for the material, the labor, all of that. And very often our vendors have 30-day terms, and some of our customers have 60 or 90-day
Yeah.
terms. Or they get paid and we get paid after they get paid. And, so cash flow in construction in general, but specifically in the fabrication industry, can be really challenging. We've gotten lucky where we finally, been able to save up enough so we have some wiggle room and some flexibility. But it's terrifying when you're a really small
Yeah.
shop and you have a number of really, really big contract of your big customers who are, well overdue on their payments, and
Hmm.
there's nothing else coming in to support that.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very, very challenging. And it's just me and my husband who own it. So, that money will sometimes come out of our own home or our own against our own credit.
Yeah.
And we're working. We're taking all the small business classes and trying to take, advantage of all the resources we have to make sure we can get on the other end of it. But managing cash flow, I think, is very challenging in the world of fabrication.
If you could fix one recurring industry headache, what would it be?
I think we're getting there in the construction industry. I think we're getting there. But I think that more places need chief um, technology officers, like people who are responsible for the new technologies coming in, making sure that everything is understood by all the stakeholders, that we're all on the same page, that we're all using the same stuff, that everybody is organized with how that is being shared out. I don't think that enough larger organizations and mechanical contractors and general contractors and people like that invest enough in getting that all right at the start. It's like before anything goes further.
Yeah. Excuse me. So, where could automation make the biggest immediate impact in fabrication?
There are lots of different ways. I mean, a lot of it is on the design end, and the all of these incredible 3D modeling that are coming out, all the BIM software, all these digital twins, kind of on the people who are doing the design end. I think a lot of that is starting to use AI technology and a lot of automation there. It's interesting because we're a custom shop, so a lot of things, if you're just making stock items, a lot of things can get automated. When you're
Yep.
making very particular customized things, a lot of which really do need to be hand welded, I don't think automation is coming for us anytime soon. I think that it's going to be a very long time before the real skilled craftsmanship work ends up getting automated away. But I do think a lot of the design work, will get automated. For example, we do curb adapters all the time. We have a library of curb adapters that are all there. And then if there's a new one that isn't currently in our library, we can often use technological automation to kind of create those designs. But you still need to have the expertise to
Yeah.
know what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be and to make sure that you understand the
Yeah.
whole thing and that you've got the 10,000-foot view of the entire project.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's still that human expertise. There needs to be real human touch at every single point.
Yes. Yes. AI can shorten the
Yeah.
cycles and that, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff like your industry now. There's always going to be people involved.
And it's so necessary.
Hmm.
The only way it's going to end up serving our needs.
Yeah. So could estimating, quoting, or takeoffs be streamlined with AI?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we're still yet to see it really rock our industry, but I'm sure it's coming. I'm already starting to use, just simple things with ChatGPT and little programs that I've written for myself that are helping with some quoting. And also our follow-ups and making sure that we're tracking our profitability on jobs. A lot of that can be streamlined with AI. But I don't think that it's completely like I don't think it's there just yet. I think it's coming, but I think that the construction industry is going to, because of just the way that it's organized, and there's still being so many small players in the game. I think it gets there a little slower. I mean, it was until we still have a fax machine in our shop. We still have people who want to fax us things. It's an industry that is going to move at the pace it's going to move at, but I think
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you still want real people who know what they're doing with eyes on every single step of that process, especially when it comes to things like, ductwork and electric and plumbing. I mean, those things have consequences if you mess it up. You want it right.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you see technology helping attract the next generation to the trades?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very much so. And I think especially as, all this quoting software and all these different ways of using the technology to get better at the trade are increasing, I see many, many more people going into the trades.
Gotcha. So, what trends are you watching in HVAC and mechanical construction?
So all different types of trends. A lot of our stuff is local. A lot of what we do is kind of in our area. So we're always following local trends and what buildings are going up and who's got those contracts. And then in a larger scale, what kinds of big investments are going on for infrastructure, because those will directly impact,
Yep.
the way that we plan our futures. Oh, my husband and business partner just walked in the door.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So, what makes a contractor a great long-term partner for you?
They pay on time. Um, no, but there's so much that goes into these relationships. I think that a lot of it is trust. I think that
Yeah.
we have to really earn the trust of the people that we're going to have long-term relationships with, and I think that we do that just by, you know, delivering what we say, what they order when they want it. And I think that as long as we do that, but there's also just the reality of all these relationships. They turn into friendships over time, and people get
Yeah.
to know each other and support one another. I see a
Yes.
lot of that in this industry.
Yeah.
Where we'll do certain things for certain customers because we all care about each other and we understand where the mistake happened, and
Mm.
we're never like the customers where if like somebody messed up we're gonna like charge you double or something crazy like that. Like, no, everyone's just human and having
Yeah.
empathy for each other and patience. And I think sometimes that's another nice thing about working with a really small business like ours, is that like you actually work with real humans. Like if you call on the
Yes.
phone, like
Yeah.
it'll actually be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where is Madden Sheet Metal heading next?
We want to hire more welders, and keep selling more and more of this, and hopefully branch out from rather just being really hyper focused in the Chicagoland area, reaching out to other places that have big building projects going up.
And we're almost there. Just what's your biggest leadership lesson you've learned by being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, be empathetic and nice. Just be nice to people. Very honestly. I mean, I think that just the real foundational, trying to look at through the issue through somebody else's perspective, it never gets old. It helps in absolutely everything. I
Yeah.
think that so much leadership is just everybody getting on the same page and helping each other out, being part of the same team.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
with the same
Exactly.
long-term goal. And I think that we sometimes overcomplicate stuff that really can just boil down to basic empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. And last, it's a funny question. So, if you're lacking energy, so are you a coffee or energy drinker?
I'm a coffee drinker. I'm
There
a
you
bit of a coffee snob too. It has to be good coffee.
Good, good. All right, Devin, this has been excellent. I love how.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. I love how your team blends old school craftsmanship with modern responsiveness. The combination is rare. So, if someone wants precision fabrication, fast turnaround, a team that figures things out instead of making excuses, Madden Sheet Metal should be there on your radar. Thanks for coming on to the Business Exchange. And again, thanks, Devin, for joining.
Thank you so much.